Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
Hi, I'm Terry Sullivan and welcome to this week's Sticks Radio Show. Very special Christmas edition of the show. We've got 3 more shows till Christmas and it's wall-to-wall Christmas and Panto stuff on the Sticks Radio Show. Today on the show I've got 2 of the stars of the Milton Keynes Panto. In a little while I'll be talking to Wayne Sleep. Many of you remember him dancing with Princess Diana. I'm sure he'll talk about that when we speak a little later. But first up on the show I've got, you may remember him on Britain's Got Talent. His name's Kevin Orkian. He was at the Milton Keynes Theatre a couple of years ago. He is an amazingly funny man. We'll be talking to him in a little while, but first let's play the first Christmas tune. You may have seen these guys on the Graham Norton Show last Friday. They're called Blake, along with Shirley Bassey, and they've recorded this song. A lot of people are tipping it to be number 1 for Christmas. It's simply called the Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting Over an Open Fire.
All through the year we waited through spring and fall,
to hear silver bells ringing and wintertime bringing
the happiest season of all.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way.
He's on his way.
He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh.
That's right.
And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering tickets from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
that's Blake and Shirley Bassey, Dame Shirley Bassey, and Chestnuts Roasting Over an Open Fire. And Stop Press Steve Bowman from Blake will be joining me here on the Sticks Radio Show next Monday at 10. So tune in for that. And now let's meet my first guest today. My guest on the show today is Kev Orkian. Many of you remember him from the TV show Britain's Got Talent. He's coming to do the Panto in Milton Keynes. He's playing Wishy Washy in Aladdin at the Milton Keynes Theatre. Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing? I'm very good, very, very good. So this Britain's Got Talent, I mean, everybody remembers it as Elton John, the scratchy CD version of I'm Still Standing.
Well, you know what? That's become a version over the last few years, because every time I go and do the shows anywhere around the world, they always ask for that. So even though I've got new material, I end up still doing that because it's just become one of those vintage routines that everyone just constantly wants to see.
Yeah, I've seen you perform live away from Panto, and you're on stage for about 2 hours, and it was side splitting. It was an interesting, interesting show. Really enjoyed it.
Bless you, pal. Do you know what? That was at Milton Keynes when I did that one-man show, and it was so much fun. And the audiences were so supportive. It was ridiculous, which is why I did nearly 2 hours. You're absolutely right.
I know, it was funny, and I tell you, it was no break as well, which is unusual because of 2 hours sitting in the theatre is it's quite a long time really without a break, anyhow. So, but let's get away from Britain's Got Talent. You've been doing so much more than that. I mean, you've been around on the comedy scene for many, many years. You've worked in the West End, Happy Days, Fame, Boogie Nights.
Yeah, do you know what? I've been doing I did a lot of West End musicals before I actually got into the stand-up side of things. And then when I got into the stand-up, that kind of took over for about a good 5 or 6 years. And then actually, I decided to go back into musicals, which is why I played the lead in David Baddiel's Infidel, which was currently done by Omid Jalili, the movie anyway. So I did that last year in 2014. One of the reasons why I couldn't do pantomime last year, actually. And then in February of this year, I went and played The Life of Dudley Moore in London. So I did that for a season as well, which was absolutely great fun. So I did that, and then I kind of went back into the comedy scene and world tour, which is what I do regularly every year. I tour different countries, different shows, different countries, and it's just great fun. So what I've decided to do now is just kind of produce my own shows in England so that I can stay here because I've got a new family as well. I've got actually my twin boys were born in 2013 when I was in pantomime in Milton Keynes. So I just kind of want to stay in the country, So I'm just producing more shows here now than I have ever done before. So
what have you got planned then? Have you anything you can let the cat out of the bag today?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. One of the things I've got, which I'm really hoping we can really build a momentum up on it, is on November the 21st of this year, which is when I'm actually going to be in rehearsals for pantomime. On the Saturday night in Frimley, Surrey, there's a venue called Lakeside Surrey, which is it's a wonderful venue, and we're doing our very first production of Talents of Britain, which is basically the stars, the real talents and the real stars of Britain's Got Talent are coming together for a one-nighter of comedy, stand-up, variety, and all kinds of stuff. So it's called Talents of Britain, and it's going to feature some of the biggest stars, in Britain's Got Talent. So it's going to be great.
That's great. I mean, you were saying you played the role of Dudley Moore. That must have been quite intimidating. Because I mean, Dudley's.
Do you know what? I'm really glad you brought that up because it was. But not only was it intimidating, it was actually quite stressful playing the part, because what I didn't know was how dark and how depressing Dudley Moore's life really was. So when I was playing it, I actually asked my wife to take the twins and go to her parents for a week, because I was coming home and I was feeling really, really sad and angry and upset, and I just didn't want to bring that. I didn't want to influence the family on it, so I asked my wife to go away for a week while I kind of really get down to the nitty gritty of the character, so that once I've got it under my belt, then I can distinguish from when I'm doing the show to when I'm coming home. So because when you're learning the lines, you're constantly having to be it. So it was a really dark time for me, to be honest with you. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of these comics though, they suffer with depression. The likes of Hancock. I think John Les Muir, he suffered with depression and all these strange things. And even Morecambe and Wise, they were very insecure.
Yeah, a lot of comics are though. It's just a natural. It's a natural. I suppose. It's not a habit. It's more like a natural kind of characteristic of the comedian to be depressed. I mean, I'm not. I've never really been depressed. I don't suffer from depression at all. I've actually, to be honest with you, I'm quite a rarity in this business because I actually find, the whole thing. It's quite. I enjoy it. I enjoy the whole kind of, business. I enjoy, everything I do in the business. But, I work with a lot of comedians. I certainly book a lot of comedians for I run a company called Howlin.co. So we book a lot of comedians for corporate and for comedy nights and all that palaver. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of them suffer from it. They really do.
They suffer with nerves. I do a bit of comedy. I don't do comedy. I do a bit of comparing on comedy, and I do a bit of comedy judging, and a few other bits and bobs. I've run the comedy shows myself, and they get so damn nervous before the show.
Yeah.
I find it incredible. I mean, you've worked in. This is not your first panto. You've worked with some of the greats in panto. You've worked with Linda Lusardi, Julian.
Yeah, who happens to actually be the godparent to my children as well.
Does she really? Do you know what?
Yeah.
It's funny because her and Bradley Walsh is is godfather to her children as well.
That's right. Yeah.
I know. Bradley.
Bradley Walsh was one of the first guys that I met who actually gave me a break in the comedy business.
He's a fabulous guy, an absolute. He was at Milton Keynes last year, and he is a. He's a very, very funny man. I've interviewed Bradley. I've also met the great Linda Lusardi at her house, which is a great story, but we won't be doing that one today. And we've worked with Leslie. You've worked with Julian Clary, John Inman. Now I met John Inman when he was at his prime. He was a great guy to work. Great guy. And he's
a top bloke, and just a shame we've lost him now. But he was a lovely, lovely man.
All the great guys. But you've been sort of likened to the great Victor Borgia.
Victor Borgia, Les Dawson, and Dudley. Yeah, I mean, my stand-up comedy is very piano orientated, so I love working with with what I think is legendary kind of comedians, and basically they were my idols, so I kind of do my comedy based around kind of how I perceive my character to be, but also I want to do natural comedy like they did, so that's kind of where I go with it, yeah.
Because, of course, Victoria Wood started off with the old piano and the thing is as well, didn't she?
That's right.
Yeah. So, how many pantos have you done? 1999 you've been doing panto since, is that right?
Yeah, I've done 15, I've done actually 16 pantomimes, because I've actually done 2 during summer as well in Australia, so I've actually been away doing pantomime in different countries as well during the year. So this year I was in Australia, Sydney, doing pantomime with very big, Australian stars, doing the story of Aladdin, ironically.
Okay, were you playing Wishy Washy as well?
Yep.
You've been typecast in that, so that's good. So
I have, haven't I?
Yeah. So what does panto mean to you?
Do you know what? It's a time to get a family together, come along and see a traditional pantomime. When I mean traditional in the sense that you get to come in, sit down, audience participate, have a good laugh, see a fantastic story, magic, fun, laughter. It's what it's all about.
Yeah. As I mentioned to Wayne, I went to Panto when I was about 6 years of age, and luckily I had a great experience. He was at the London Palladium, and I used to go to the Golders Green Empire when that was around, and I had a great experience. And now I'm 53 years of age, and I love the theatre. I love the event. I love going. And Panto, I'm very fortunate. I get to see 5, 6, 7 Pantos a year. Over a period of a few weeks, and I love it. I always look forward to Christmas, but everybody says how hard work it is. It's like 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks of performances and a couple of weeks of rehearsal, and it is full on, isn't it?
That's right. It is a really, really magical time. It's hard work. It's probably one of the hardest regimes you'll ever do in British theatre. But you know what? It's worth every moment when you see those children walking away with smiles on their faces and magical eyes. It's great.
Well, I'm looking forward to coming. I'm coming along. I think it's opening night. I think I'm coming, or maybe soon after. I've been invited to come along. I'm looking forward to it already.
Bless you, pal. Well, we look forward to seeing you as well, mate.
So who are you looking forward to working with